The Great Depression was more than an economic downturn. It was the single greatest financial crisis of the 20th century, reshaping lives, governments, and the very way people thought about money. Between 1929 and the late 1930s, tens of millions of lives were disrupted. Entire industries collapsed. Families who once lived comfortably found themselves standing in bread lines, struggling just to put food on the table. Nearly a century later, the echoes of that catastrophe still carry lessons for us today. Lessons about money mistakes, resilience, and the importance of preparation in an uncertain world. This is the story of what the Great Depression can still teach us about money. Section 1. The collapse of confidence. The Great Depression began with the infamous stock market crash of October 1929. In just a few days, billions of dollars of wealth vanished. The roaring prosperity of the 1920s came to a screeching halt, but the crash itself was only the spark. What followed was far more devastating. Thousands of banks failed, wiping out life savings. Businesses collapsed, unable to get credit. Unemployment soared to nearly 25% in the United States. This wasn't just numbers on paper. It was real people's lives. Skilled workers, professionals, even business owners who thought they were secure suddenly found themselves without jobs, income, or savings. Families lost homes. Children dropped out of school to help support their parents. The first lesson of the Great Depression: prosperity is fragile. Wealth, jobs, and even entire industries can disappear in a moment. The mistake is believing that stability is permanent. Section 2. The money mistakes that magnified the crisis. What made the Great Depression so devastating wasn't just bad luck. It was a series of money mistakes that magnified the collapse. Overconfidence in endless growth. In the 1920s, stock prices skyrocketed. Many believed the market could only rise. To chase higher profits, investors borrowed money to buy stocks, a risky practice called buying on margin. When the crash came, those debts didn't disappear. They multiplied the losses, ruining both wealthy investors and ordinary families. A lack of emergency savings. Most households lived paycheck to paycheck. With little to no financial cushion, even a short period of unemployment was devastating. When the economy collapsed, millions simply had nothing to fall back on. No diversification, farmers depended on crops. Factory workers relied on a single employer. Investors often put all their money into just a handful of stocks. When those sources failed, there was no backup plan. Entire families went from stability to poverty overnight. Blind trust in institutions. At that time, banks were not insured. When banks failed, depositors lost everything. Imagine walking into your local bank one morning, only to find it closed forever, with your life savings gone. This happened to millions. Lifestyle inflation. During the booming 1920s, many families stretched themselves thin to buy cars, radios, or houses. When the crash hit, debt and high expenses made survival even harder. Each of these mistakes turned a financial crisis into a generational catastrophe. Section 3. Enduring lessons for modern times. The Great Depression offers timeless financial lessons that still apply today. Build an emergency fund. A savings cushion of 3 to 6 months of living expenses is a safety net in uncertain times. It may not sound exciting, but during a crisis, it can mean the difference between security and despair. Avoid dangerous debt. Credit can build wealth in good times, but it can destroy it in downturns. Living heavily on borrowed money leaves no room to adapt when circumstances change. Debt should be used cautiously, never recklessly. Diversify income and investments. Relying on a single employer, a single investment, or even a single skill is risky. Diversification spreads that risk. Today, it might mean having multiple income streams, investing across industries, or learning skills that can be adapted in changing times. Question before trusting. In the 1930s, people assumed banks were safe. Today, we assume large institutions and markets are too. But crises like the 2008 financial collapse show that blind trust is dangerous. education, research, and informed decision-making are essential. Live below your means. The families who survived the Depression most successfully were often those who already practiced frugality. A modest lifestyle creates resilience, because when the unexpected happens, you're already prepared to live with less. Section 4. The echoes of history in today's world. The Great Depression might feel distant, but its lessons have resurfaced again and again. In 2008, the global financial system nearly collapsed. Housing markets crashed, banks failed, and millions lost jobs. Once again, those with savings and diversified income weathered the storm better than those who relied on debt and unchecked optimism. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic brought the world to a standstill. Businesses shut down overnight. Millions of people discovered just how fragile their financial security was. Those without savings or with high debt felt the greatest pain. Even today, with inflation rising and global markets uncertain, the lessons of the Great Depression are as urgent as ever. The details may change, but the core truth remains. Economic stability can vanish, and preparation is the only defense. Section 5. A human perspective. To truly understand the Great Depression, imagine the daily lives of those who endured it. Families lined up for hours at soup kitchens hoping for a single meal. Once successful professionals sold apples for 5 cents on street corners. Farmers, devastated by both economic collapse and the Dust Bowl, abandoned their land, driving across the country with everything they owned piled into a truck. Children wore shoes with cardboard soles because parents couldn't afford replacements. Communities formed barter systems, trading goods and services because money itself was scarce. These were not reckless spenders or gamblers. They were ordinary people, caught unprepared when the tide of fortune turned. Their hardship reminds us that financial storms do not discriminate. They come for everyone, but those who prepare have the best chance to survive them. Section 6. What we can do today. So what can we learn from their struggle? Save consistently, even when times are good. Be cautious with debt, especially high interest or speculative borrowing. Invest for the long term and spread risk across different assets. Develop skills that can adapt to new industries and changing economies. Focus on needs before wants. Build a lifestyle that's resilient, not fragile. The Great Depression stripped away illusions. It showed that wealth is not guaranteed, institutions are not infallible, and financial security must be actively built, not assumed. If you enjoyed this video and want more insights on money, history, and financial wisdom, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Share this with someone who could use these lessons today, and let's keep learning from the past to build a stronger future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.